From the Global Studios in downtown Toronto, News at Noon with Anthony Robart and Rosie Etta.
Stay with us. Coming up on the News at Noon, with the grip on Canada's marijuana laws loosening, what will it take for the industry to be both successful and accountable? Why one expert says we should look to Wall Street. We'll have that story after the break. Welcome back. Well, while the debate over the legalization of marijuana has divided many in this country, few can deny that the industry of medical marijuana has become big business. And experts say this is just the beginning, with Health Canada even predicting the market will be worth close to $1.5 billion in a decade. Imagine that. Well, there are so many questions, obviously, surrounding this issue. Here to answer some of them is Steve Yonich, the CEO of Amercanex. It's the American Cannabis Exchange Marketplace. Thank you so much for coming in.
It's a pleasure to be here.
All right, obviously this is an American model, and you are looking at sort of bringing that to Canada as well. Explain exactly what this is, because when I think of exchange, I think of something like NASDAQ or the TSX, for example.
And correct, it's very similar to, say, the commodities markets, and that's how we approach this marketplace. So what we've built is the first fully electronic marketplace for the wholesale distribution of cannabis, fully licensed.
Obviously, this leads to the next thing, which is basically this shows how big this industry has become already. And obviously, it is growing day by day. But how would you characterize the size of the industry as we speak?
The numbers are actually pretty tremendous, and it's moving at a euphoric pace. If you actually look at the markets in the United States, the markets are in the trillions. The numbers are amazing, and it's growing fast. If you look at the U.S., for an example, we're now at roughly 30 states on a medicinal level, over 2 states, and many adding on a recreational level as well. The key to this now is to be able to have the regulatory agencies have the ability to wrap their hands around this and have the transparency, the accountability to actually be able to see what's going on in the marketplace.
All right, as you mentioned, dozens of states in the U.S. Have legalized medical marijuana. A number of states have legalized marijuana as a whole. But here's the thing. Do you think this industry could be not only profitable, but really sustain itself in the long term if it is only relying on medical marijuana?
Well, I think
Does it really depend on the legalization of marijuana as a whole?
I think that for it to grow consistently, yes, you're going to need to have legalization as a whole, because there are many other products besides the product that is ingested or smoked. So hemp, for an example, used to be a product that was, in the United States, a product that you had to grow. The fiber has tremendous value throughout the world. So there are many byproducts within the marijuana that many countries and industries could use. We just need to have the ability to allow it to be legal and have the ability to wrap our hands around it and track each and every transaction.
Obviously, you must recognize the controversy and the sensitivity around this issue. What would you say to those who just, philosophically would oppose this?
Well, I think what you find is the markets have been opened up. Let's say Pandora's box is open. There are many that oppose it, and many that oppose liquor, many that oppose tobacco. But what you find is, as you control these substances, you find that it keeps it out of the hands of children, and it allows adults, people that can make their own decisions, to use the product.
Are the laws playing catch-up in a way in the U.S. and also in Canada? Or do you think the growth of this industry, do you think in some way that is actually influencing the way laws are passed and changed in this country?
I think the laws are now looking at it because the product has such tremendous revenue potential. And I think that that's the key factor here. That's been the key factor in the U.S. And this is what's been disseminated throughout our community, is if we're able to legalize this product, we're able to tax it, the numbers are tremendous. And obviously throughout the world, we could use this taxation method.
It's interesting because when you look at here in Ontario, there's a town, Smith Falls, which used to house the Hershey factory. Hershey closed this factory down, and now this factory has been transformed into producing medical marijuana. So while people may oppose on some level, it's interesting how it has brought back the economy in certain communities as well.
And if you look at Colorado, because that's really one of the states that everybody's focusing on, the numbers are staggering. Crime is down. It's become the #1 growing fastest economy in the United States. Those are tremendous issues that people are looking at right now, and why I think the legalization process is moving forward in many states. And I think if you look at Canada, Canada's had its own issues in the past. Wholesale distribution just opened up in Canada, and what they really want is they want big players to come into a marketplace so they can actually control this process, because what's happening is, although many can grow legally, a very good portion of that product ends up in the black market, and that's what we're all trying to avoid, and that's why we built this technology, to help governments, to help agencies, to help businesses wrap their hands around this business.
Obviously, to be continued. This is a story that a lot of people are talking about. Steve Yonich from Amercanex, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you very much.
All right.
It's been a pleasure.
We'll be back after this.